Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of season 5. This week's episode is a coffee talk episode. If you are just joining us and you aren't familiar with coffee talks are short in-between episodes where we read your user-submitted stories, hang out with friends, talk about witchy pop culture, or chat with you about what's going on in our personal practices.
Stutter on witchy.
Thanks, babe.
But if you want to be featured on Coffee Talk, you can email us at submission@coffeeandcauldrons.com, or you can send us your submission on our website, coffeeandcauldrons.com. You can send us your tips, your ghost stories, and we love ghost stories. Please send them. Or any kind of funny story you think the community would love to hear. And be sure to let us know if we can share your name or if you prefer to stay anonymous. Your social media usernames are also a great way to get credit. And also, we now have a voicemail service where you can leave us a voicemail and tell us with your voice your story.
Which is so exciting.
Very exciting. But if you would like to do that, our number is 351-207-0799.
Yes. Please send us your stories. We did get a couple over the break, which we're very excited to listen to, but we want to hear more. But don't forget, both options are totally available if you don't want to leave a voicemail and you want to type out your story. We just thought it might be easier for people.
Yeah, it's for those people who like voice notes.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with our Patreon or familiar with the classes that we host on Patreon, we do have a class coming up the 28th of January. It will be at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be hosted by Rachel Henderson, and it will be on craft magic. We had Rachel on the podcast, what was it, like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I think it was last month, wasn't it? I don't know.
No, we didn't have any guests last month.
Time is
so
weird.
It would have been November. So if you listen to Rachel's episode, you were like, wow, love that. Well, guess what? She's hosting a class, and that is for the library tier and up. So we would love to have you.
Yeah. And, I think our classes are pretty amazing. So
I do too. We have some really amazing lecturers on there. So we are very blessed.
And if you join,
nature.
you get the backlog of them all because we record them.
You do, which is so good.
So good.
Okay, so this episode, we're just going to talk about what we've been doing. Maria and I have not recorded since the end of November. So we just thought we'd kind of have a little catch up amongst ourselves and bring you along.
Yeah. Well, I know that you did absolutely nothing in December.
I didn't do anything. I didn't even do one thing. It was really pathetic. I can tell everybody what happened, but if I do tell you what happened, I'm going to preface this right now with a trigger warning. I am going to talk about surgery, childbirth, and light conversations on dying. So if that's not something you want to hear, I would skip ahead.
Well, lay it on us.
So I did have my second child in the middle of last month, which was so great. When we did the last episode, angel. It was a guess as to whether or not I was going to have the baby by the time that episode had come out. And I did. I had the baby about a week before that episode came out. So, as all of you are aware at this point, I did keep it a total surprise that I was pregnant. And I was effectively dying the last 2 months. And that is not the usual Robin #exaggeration. I was not doing well. I did end up having to get not an emergency C-section, but a C-section because baby was sat in my body in the most psychotic way where I could not walk. Cool. And I did have to get a C-section, and it was the most insane experience I've ever had in my entire life. And as somebody who has had both a vaginal birth and a cesarean, I felt this way beforehand, but I am now with just my full chest saying anyone who says that C-sections are the easy way out can suck my asshole. That was a crazy experience. They literally, you're laying there and they're making soup out of your organs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can feel everything, but there's no pain with it. So it's like it's very bizarre. I've never experienced anything like it, and I probably never will again. It's like, I don't know how to just, it's literally like an out-of-body experience. Like, you can feel all the pressure of things like moving and hands being in your body and like all that, but you don't feel any pain associated with it. So it's really bizarre. It's like they're making soup out of your body. And like in my particular case, as my darling spouse takes our newborn baby out of the room to go skin to skin, the doctors say to each other, we can't get her organs back in. And we both went, I'm sorry, what? And it was in that moment that they plunged me with anti-anxiety medication that I knocked out for the next hour. No recollection of anything.
Yeah.
But I'm healthy. Baby's, well, I'm sick right now, but I healed fine. Baby's fine. I did get a cold the day before I went into surgery, and I was coughing in surgery and with a fresh abdominal wound. Only to get COVID this week. So we are just gorgeous. The Valentine household is vibing on a different level right now.
Oh no.
But otherwise we're okay. Everything went okay. The baby's beautiful. They're wonderful. It will be exactly like it was with my firstborn, where we don't share things like faces, genders, names. But for those of you who have wondered, because I have had questions, my firstborn, my godson named Smokeball. My secondborn, my godson, is obsessed with Harry Potter right now. So the baby's nickname is Ronald.
Oh, yeah. No, I can see it.
I asked them why Ronald specifically, and he said, I don't know, I just really like that name. And I went, okay, fair enough.
Isn't there also like a penguin, and was it an Adventure Time or is it Animal Crossing named Ronald? I cannot remember.
I don't recall that, but honestly, my brain is made of literal Jell-O right now, so that means nothing. Yeah, everybody's healthy and safe, and we're
adorable.
Yeah, we're feeling very good. We're feeling so good that I'm even back to doing tarot readings, which is really exciting. I opened my shop back up, and I'm going to do my oils. I'm going to start taking pre-orders for those next week, I think. So
what Robin is saying is that she operates in an inhuman level. Many people would not be able to do that right after.
I really feel like I've rested, though. I really do. Like, for me, for me, can we admit that for me, I've rested really well?
Yes, but
for me. Like, I mean, you're not wrong, but for me, I've taken such a break, like, where I'm like, okay, I need to do something now.
I don't know. I guess my old Victorian ass is like,
I feel like you right now. I honestly feel like a withering Victorian ghoul.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I had a surgery.
It's a vibe, isn't it?
I had a cough and now I've got the COVID.
Yeah. Welcome to a day in the life. It's beautiful. It's sexy. It's what everyone aspires to.
Yeah, I feel like I'm dying at all times, but I also feel like I am dead. So I really feel like that's capturing the Victorian essence, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I missed you so much I became you.
Hate that for you, but it's always good to be missed.
I'm gonna start saying stuff like, I've got a real case of the morbs.
Yes.
Goodness, what have you been doing? Let's talk about you. Who cares about me and my stupid baby?
I do. Oh my gosh. And I'm the person that actually gets to see videos and photos, and you all should be very jealous.
It's
very
true.
Jealous of the QP household. Anyway,
we have a QP household. Although this one looks exactly like my husband, and I'm a little offended.
You said
I'm a little offended.
Smokeball. You said that about Smokeball.
I mean, that's true, but the difference is this is a literal copy paste. Where
that's
like my firstborn,
they smile. And then they're gonna smile, and it's gonna be you.
Smokeball looked like Frank with like little features here and there, where I was like, "Oh, you look like your dad." And then the new one, the new baby, Ronald. Ronald looks exactly like Francis in every single way, and I'm just like, I was cut up on a table like the movie Alien for you. Okay? Like, this is rude.
Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah. I feel that.
Anyway, sorry, back to you. I'm so sorry. I sidetracked.
No. Like, you went through something major, and all I did was, like, holiday stuff, which was a lot of fun. Like, I took, like, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks off of social media mostly.
I love that
besides
for you.
Typing up some things for Threads. But I don't know. It was actually, I don't know. Last month was pretty busy with like all the kitchen witchery that was happening, and then like doing our very late boxes for the spellcasters.
Oh my gosh, that was such a disaster. That was actually for anybody who is a Patreon member who stuck with us when we had a real mishap last month with the boxes. Thank you so much, because that was crazy. That was crazy for us, and we're not the ones who are expecting a box to show up in the mail. Yeah. So thank you for sticking with us, because that was crazy. Like,
for real.
We were really scrambling to make that not be so horrible.
Yeah, truly. It was very stressful. But other than the stress, I mean, the holidays were super great. Like, I always love the holidays because it's like that whole family togetherness thing, and, enjoying the labor of all the hard work that goes into like the winter solstice and goes into Christmas and Christmas Eve, because I, of course, like have a theme for all of those nights and big meals that I make. And, but it's nice seeing, my family enjoy it and stuff like that. And, doing family rituals and stuff together. It was just very, very nice. And then, I've been reading a whole bunch, both witchy and non-witchy. But I'm currently, like, I've been rereading Sydney Brennan's book, Entering Hecate's Cave, and I've been, like, actually doing the exercises in it and everything, and I've been really enjoying, like, it's basically a book on shadow work, but instead, like, of just working with shadow work in general, you're working with Hecate, which makes sense because, with her being a crossroads goddess and stuff like that, and being a torchbearer, the whole shadow work aspect definitely fits. But yeah, and I've just been doing all that stuff and really enjoying myself and my practice. Like, it's definitely been like, I've been in hermit mode. Where,
to say the absolute least.
Yeah, like, I've been just keeping to myself, reading and doing like little spells for myself.
What are you reading?
And not really. Well, currently I'm reading Salt and Broom, fiction-wise. But I'm still going through Hecate's Cave. But I just got done with Starling House, a fiction book, and that was so good. Like, what a great book. I actually think that you would like it.
I'll give it a try. Would I actually like it, or would this be like when everybody was like, read ACOTAR, and then I read it and I was like, I hate this?
I can't relate. That's one of my favorite series. And I wanted to kick your butt. Listen.
Everybody, so for those of you who don't know, on our Patreon, we have a Discord, and within that Discord, we have a multi-tiered book section. We have book talk, we have a book club, where the book club we read witchcraft books every month. We have a book talk where we talk about all kinds of book, and then there is the sub book smut club. Okay. Book talk has been talking about the ACOTAR series for what? The last 2 years? Something like that? Nonstop?
Longer than that.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. You have to read it. You have to read it. So finally I was like, you know what? I am going to read this book. I'm going to read it. I hate it. I want Tamlin dead. I think he's the worst.
But okay, spoiler, everyone, like, jump ahead like 30 seconds. He's supposed to be the worst.
I know that, but like, I don't understand how you could read. I don't understand how you could read the first book. So again, flash forward 30 seconds if you don't want any spoilers, because I'm on book 2.
Characters.
I'm on book 2, so flash forward 30 seconds if you want no spoilers. In book 2, we know that he's a dick, right? But in book 1, where she was like, I'm in love and love cures everything. I'm like, how? Why? He's stood there being a total like asshole who's removed himself from anything that has to do with you. And you're like, I love him.
I think it's because it's the only person who's ever like cared for her and done, obviously on a toxic level, but
Right.
you know, she's had to care for herself and her sisters for so long that she, you know, just like it's her first love, and we all know how toxic her first love is.
That's so embarrassing.
He loves me, and it, you know, it's like
so embarrassing.
a realistic depiction of Beauty and the Beast.
It's literally so embarrassing. Couldn't be me. I truly, I'm sat back and I'm like, oh my God, girl. You're getting chased by a giant fucking worm. Okay? And like this man has just stood there not even making eye contact with you. Raise the bar, bitch. Raise the bar. And then he proposes and you're like, this is a good idea, actually.
What?
He loves me so much. Okay, spoilers. Book one. He loves me so much that he won't make eye contact with me while I'm being abused and murdered. He loves me so much that I am literally festering from a wound that I'm going to die, and he will not help me. But he does find the time to pull me to a side room to try to fuck me where we could both get killed. Wow, He loves me so much. Piece of shit. We hate him. What a tampon. My phone in the chat keeps auto-correcting him from Tamlin to tampon, and I've just stopped correcting it. Like, I'm like, that's fine.
Yes. That makes
we hate
sense.
him.
We do.
We really hate him. I just think he's such a douche.
Yeah, agree. But don't worry. I'm worried. It's going to feel really good in the next few books. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But
I'm about halfway through the second book, so I still got a little
hit until like
I got a little journey to go through, but my favorite part about the second book is that we've essentially forgotten that tampon exists, and I'm like, that's great. Good.
Don't worry, he's like a fungus just when you think you got rid of it.
Somebody get the vinegar. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
So then, okay, my question to you in terms of this year is, what are your resolutions? What are your plans? Do you have witchy goals, etc., etc.?
Honestly, I think I did really well last year with the things that I wanted to do and I wanted to accomplish. Obviously, you know, there was stuff beyond my control, and when I let like my, you know, phone addiction get a hold of me.
See the Victorian Ghoul mentioned earlier in the episode.
But I want to get out in nature once again as much as possible, like weekly hiking trips around us if possible, and then journaling more, especially out in nature, because I really enjoyed starting that last year before it got too cold to actually go out there. And I say cold, but I mean South Carolina is not, in my opinion, very attractive in winter. It's very sad, and you can see like freeways and stuff through the trees. It's not a good look. It's fine if it like the woods and stuff are very well covered, but no.
Otherwise,
for now we're just kind of staying away. So I'm waiting until spring to finally get out there and enjoying it all again. And I really want to keep studying and reading more. And now since like recently I was reintroduced to the tarot book by Barbara Walkers. I think that was the last name that I told you about. And then you freaking showed me that like unlocked a huge memory. Like a huge memory. Crone's Book of Magical Words. This is gonna be my whole personality now. I went and I bought it.
You're about to be a 1970s. Is she problematic? Probably not. Book reader.
No, I looked it up. She's good.
No, I meant you.
Oh, thanks. What? No, but like,
geez.
I don't know. Like, I really like wordcraft when it comes to spell work, and I don't know. I just forgot how beautifully like written the spells are in here, and like, I don't know. I kind of wish spell books were still kind of written like that. Like, I feel like we over explain things because we feel like we have to over explain and explain like every ingredient and explain like why you're doing something, and it kind of takes the research and stuff out. I don't know. I feel like it kind of like dumbs down the material a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think it totally does. I also think that it's really good to go back and read old books in general, even if they have like problematic tendencies within them, because I think it's important to understand the evolution of like this social conversation around witchcraft, because especially in the 20th century, there has been massive evolutionary shifts. And I think it's important to understand where we came from to understand better where we are now. It doesn't mean that we need to read it and be like, I do think this appropriative thing is good and I will incorporate it. Instead, you can say, wow, that was really appropriative. This is where we've evolved from that.
I think I have found more appropriative stuff in like the stuff from
modern stuff. The same. Me
way
fucking
more
too.
So. Way more so.
Listen, I'm gonna be a hater. The books that have come out, not all of them. I want to preface that there's been some really amazing books that have come out in the last few years. But the books that have come out, like especially post like COVID.
Yeah.
There have been so many books that have come out where I'm like, who is your editor? Did you get this peer reviewed? This is not okay.
There has actually been books that I've been sent that
again,
I just don't share.
Not all the books. Honestly, wouldn't even say the majority of the books, but there's been a noteworthy percentage of books where we've read some of them for book club where I've been like, what the fuck? And we've had to talk about it in book club about how we didn't find certain things appropriate. So
yeah. And I do find like with older spell books, comparatively to to most recent ones, I feel like older spell books they're very simple, and that's what spells typically are. They're just something simple that we do. But instead, thanks to TikTok and things like that, like people like overdo like the ingredients, overdo the things they feel like they have to do for spell work. And I don't know. It just would be kind of
eggshell is actually not a catch-all. TikTok? Salt? Not a catch-all. Let's all just relax.
100%.
Let's just relax. I mean, we've talked about this in Discord a million times, but it is something that perpetually frustrates me, we're going to say.
Yeah.
Is correspondence has correspondence for a reason, even if that's personal course, like UPG, right? And I do get a little frustrated when certain ingredients get used as catch-alls because I just want to be like, and why? Why are you using that in every single spell? What is the reason behind it? Explain it to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's part of the whole, like, people using as many ingredients as possible, especially if it's like aesthetically pleasing.
Sure. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, like we were talking on the Discord, maybe, I don't know, I think it was last month. We were talking about the cord cutting and people using candles in lieu of actual scissors. And I feel like people overdo the candles when like just a simple scissors would be way more effective because it's putting you into the cutting thing and not just watching it from an outsider's
third-party perspective. Yeah. I feel like the cord cutting is such a great example of when the internet fails us because aesthetically, the aesthetic reasoning behind using 2 candles, 12 out of 10. They're beautiful. I love watching it. You love watching it. Who doesn't love watching it, right? But it's the paradox where people think that they need to put everything onto the internet to somehow make it valid. And first of all, I don't think active spell work should be posted on the internet at all. That's my personal opinion. It's okay if you disagree. I don't think you shouldn't, you can't put spell work on the internet. I just wouldn't put active spell work on the internet. So if you're doing the 2 candles with the sole intention of posting it on the internet, in my experience, there is a bit of a problem with that, but regardless. And then you do it that way and you're totally out of control of a spell that you are specifically trying to be in control of the situation. I think that the 2 candle cord cutting spells are better to interpret the connection that you have with this person rather than
it's
actually
like
trying to sever the tie. Exactly. That's my opinion. It's okay if you disagree. But yeah, to me, it's really creates that, I don't know, that struggling balance of why are you doing it this way?
Because it looks good. But anyways, I do want to go back to my previous statement about books being dumbed down because of how much explaining that they do. I feel when we're telling people to I don't know, just very of course you would do that next,
yeah. One of the books that we read recently, not going to name the book, but a few of our listeners, a few of our members, our Discord members, listened to the book, and several times within the book, the audio narrator was like, if you need a moment to pause the audio and write this down, it's no shit. You don't need to actually say that. The person sat there listening to the audio going, oh, I should write it down. If only.
Yeah. Well, I feel also if we explain too much, it takes kind of where we don't do our practices for ourselves. Instead, we're doing someone else's practice. You know what I mean? Because I do feel spells should be made for, if you take a spell from a spell book and you make it your own. If you're not making it your own and you're following it step by step, you're removing the most important component yourself.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, on that deliriously emo note, I think that's the end of our episode. Oh, goodness. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week for Coffee Talk. We hope to see you next week for our regular episodes. You can check out our website for links to our submission forms, or you can shoot us an email at submissions@coffeeandcauldrons.com to tell us any ghost stories, witchy stories, tips, or topics that you think the community would love to hear.
And as always, if you enjoy Coffee and Cauldrons, please take a moment to review us on Apple Podcasts. Or if you want to support us directly, consider joining us on Patreon, where we share your articles, a special Part 2 exclusive episode, have a Spell of the Month box, and we have a Discord that has so many fun events and amazing people. You should definitely come join us.
Yes, we would love to have you there. We have a very good crew.
We do.
All right. Well, that being said, everyone, thank you for being here.
Bye.